Hey everyone, and welcome back to more, oh god, what was it? The Falconer? Moonlight? I can't remember if it was Moonlight, the Falcon... I'll find out. Whatever, welcome back to more of this game. St. George was mine. I sank a few more pints before taking myself to bed. I didn't talk to Weka. Mostly to ease the ache of the road, but a little to loosen the knot of fear in my belly. Thankfully this is all like... Oh, okay. Well, I haven't talked to Weka. The next morning brought more mist. Sunlight's famous wild bacon and eggs pie. And a decision to make. Well, I never talked to Weka. I wasn't buying Biddy's accusations of serial murder, but Maggie Matthews still hadn't turned up, and Weka was the last person to see her. I hope a little heart-to-heart with Weka would provide some useful insight. I found Weka dicing for gold dust with a pair of Chinese miners. I watched them for a little while from across the street, focusing on those dice as they tumbled across the porch boards of Flynn's general store. By the sixth roll, I'd become damn sure that those dice were loaded. Now, I could have either pointed this fact out and saved those miners some hard-earned gold, or I'd hold my tongue and let the events take their natural course. I mean, he is a cheat, and cheaters should never prosper. I popped back into the Moonlight Hotel, borrowed a glass of water, and sauntered really casual-like over to Weka and his prey. Then I intercepted those dice mid-tumble, ignoring the resulting complaints as I dropped the dice into my glass. Sure enough, both settled at the bottom. Sixes down, snake eyes staring up at me. The miners looked at Weka. Weka looked back. I dropped my glass and drew my gun before anyone had time to do anything stupid. At this point, Weka proved himself to be a man of good sense, handing back the miners dust and some extra sterling as way of apology. He even managed an amused smile as the miners shuffled off down the street, headed for the Moonlight Hotel to no doubt celebrate their narrow escape from misfortune. Begging your pardon, Miss Winter, but shouldn't you be out hunting for lost folk rather than trying to despoil my good reputation? Such as one Maggie Matthews? I don't know where she is. I didn't say that you did, Mr. Jones. Well, then what are you saying? I'm asking. Why did two of you part ways at giggling glances? Giggling glade? What? The question caught off guard as intended. Did you make a habit of prying into personal matters of innocent gentlemen? Yes. So she was not as sweet on you as you'd hoped. A little bush liaison did not go as planned. Quite the opposite. You can spare me the slick detail, just the facts, please. She threw herself at me, and gracefully declined her affections. And I gracefully
That sort of thing happen often to you, Mr. Jones?
Please, call me. Oh, God. Weremu? Please, call me Weremu. Cassie. We shook hands and performed what the Mori call a hongi. Oh, God. A tradition of pressing noses and respectful greeting. Apparently it's about sharing the breath of life together. I had to admit, I couldn't see why ladies fancied this Weremu Jones. Well presented, well mannered, and with eyes like rich dark chocolate. Yes, unfortunately so. And I make a point of never taking advantage. It's the way my mother raised me. My mother taught me to shoot any man that looked at me funny. Oh, God. Oh, right-clicking opens up the menu. That's cool. And we both had the council of wise women. Guess so. But let's spare a thought for Maggie's mother now, shall we? Alright. Maggie took my rejection rather badly. Unrequited love, it's not an easy thing to bear. I don't know why he's the only one I gave a special voice to. Just like, first thing that popped in my mind was, I want to give him this voice. She threatened to tell the town that I'd, taken her by force. Oh? You can imagine how that would have gone. The word of Mori men against that of a Pakeha woman, the daughter of a respected carpenter. You could have been hanged by a tree by sunset. Exactly. I have to admit, though, Weremu, that's a pretty good motive for murder. Most folks around here will agree with you, which is why I was in the process of hustling down some funds for a hasty departure from town. 1 second, I need some water. A lot of talking tends to get my throat dry. That is until you rather elegantly foiled my hustle. Looks like you'll just have to stay and prove your innocence then, Weremu. Is that your way? Is that your way of saying, if you try to leave town, I'll shoot you? You're a smart man. Explains why I'm still alive. With that, he strolled off down the street, swinging his cane and whistling. Just a cheerful gentleman taking his morning consolation. Though the sun was weak in the gray sky, there was just enough warmth to have lifted the mist off the bush a little. I had enough time to pay Biddy Goodwin a visit before I'd have to venture out into the damp forest to discover the fate of Maggie Matthews for myself. Ah, Biddy. Still with that... Oh, God. God, this is what my friend would want to be. If Greg, for some reason, watches this, I know this is what you want to do. This is exactly your future that you'd want. Just a bottle of alcohol all day long. I found Biddy taking her first slug of liquid breakfast from her whiskey bottle. It seems Biddy was a believer in the hair of the dog cure for hangovers. Essentially, in order to prevent hangovers, you don't stop drinking. You shoot wake yet? Nope, and you're not going to either. Why is that? Apart from you getting hung for it? Yep, already thought of that. Doing neck exercise twice a day. What? I'm gonna survive a hanging by doing neck exercises so I don't get hurt. Alright, then how about innocent until proven guilty? Betty cackled into her bottle. Ain't that the way life works? Not in my experience. That's why you spend your time picking fights, is it? Someone's gotta keep the bastards of this world honest. I love that there's background noise for this entire game as well. There has not been a moment in this game really without there being noise, which is very true to life. There's very little time when there's not additional noise. I know exactly who that comment was aimed at. Here was my chance to find out more about the feud between Biddy and George. Then again, people were dying, and more might die if I didn't find my color and fast. The mining incidents was looming large in this investigation. Well, I need to know about the mining incident. The color is very important. Getting rid of the thing killing people, and then you can find out about why someone else hates another person. I'm going to ask you this straight, Biddy. So don't go getting all offended and trying for the rusty antique of yours. Ask me what, Falconer? Did you have anything to do with the accident? Biddy's face took on a puckered look of a rotten apple, and her mouth started working side to side, like she was preparing a nice, juicy spit for my face. And then the moment passed, her face softened, and she simply took another sip at her whiskey. I lost a lot of friends in that blast. I know, I'm sorry. Not half as sorry as them. And it weren't no accident. No? Not with Jim Corbett in charge of those explosives. Didn't talk much, did Jimmy? Too busy worrying about his dynamite and gas pockets. About lighted matches in wrong places. Jimmy Worries, the other all called him. And with Jimmy Worry down the mine, nobody else needed bother with it. Could Jimmy have made a mistake? Could I go a day without a drink? I took that as a no, thanked Biddy for her time, and thought about Jimmy Worry as I followed the nearest path headed for the bush. When an accident that killed 65 men turns out not to be an accident, 9 times out of 10 there's a color behind it. The Falconers? I know that the title is Falconers. Is this a falconer? Or they call it? Spent a few hundred years working that one out. Okay. I followed the narrow trail through the damp forest, the mist still concealing much that should have been in view at this time of day. It made me wonder if colors were having something to do with it. That could bend nature to their wicked will, even the weather sometimes. Oh, they could bend. Ooh. So Little Mist was probably, well, within their capabilities. Had I known the job involved being constantly wet and clammy, I'm not sure I would have signed up to be a falconer in the first place. But I suppose it's a small sacrifice for getting to save the world. Not that a lot of the world was all the worth saving, mind you. But the bits that were, that kind of made up for the rest. A couple of curious fantails danced in the air about me as I walked. I chatted back to them, doing my best impression of a cork rubbed against the neck of a bottle. Some would see a visitation from a fantail as a bad omen, but from my memory, it's just when a fantail flies into your house. Then it's come to say something, and it's usually never good news. Someone's gonna die before the night is done. Out in the bush, they're just saying hello. The soggy trail broke out into a picturesque glade. Giggling glade, currently empty of lip-locked lovers. I had no idea if I'd be able to draw anything out of that place, but had to try. If something had happened here, something tragic, something terrifying, something that could have left an imprint, I needed to see it. Oh, what's this mean? I positioned myself in the center of the glade, closed my eyes, and reached out with my mind and braced myself to bear witness as I had been taught. Oh man. There was Maggie Matthews, hands balled into fists, tears running down her cheek, glowing as Weka back as he disappeared down the path. I saw her muster herself, dark thoughts swirling around her like opium smoke, and drew one of her father's chisels from the folds of her dress. Chisel branded, she started at Weka, with her first step trembling, the second stronger, the third. She didn't get to make the third. Shadow bursted from the forest and took Maggie mid-step, a blur of predation and monstrosity. A color. Maggie Matthews was gone before she could even scream. I opened my eyes, took some deep breaths, and waited until my heart slowed from a gallop to a canter. That is really cool. I like that little idea. Then I set off into the bush, started at the point where Maggie and Keller had breached the tree line. The color had left nothing to betray its path. No physical sign that any tracker, no matter how skilled, could have followed. So I closed my eyes, committed my mind to empty darkness, and listened to the dying echoes of Maggie's terror and pain. I followed that sorry trail all day until the sun lurked low over the damp hills. The shadows were long and the day nearly done when I saw the first physical sign that I was in color territory. A miner's boot, half submerged in mud, prodded leaves disturbed by a body dragged, a severed finger still bearing its wedding ring. I drew my... Ooh. I like that. You pulled the hammer back on the guns too when you listen to that. I drew my gun and crept through the bush, taking each step with silent, painstaking care. As I moved, I scanned my surroundings, searching for the barest movement of a fern leaf or frond. A flash of color that didn't belong, a whisper of air displaced, anything that might signal imminent attack. The forest remained as quiet and somber as a crypt. The birds had long fled. At last I saw a break in the trees ahead, a clearing filled with wan evening sunlight. It paused to wipe the nervous sweat from the handles of my pistols. Blew softly at my palms to dry them. If I dropped one of my guns, it would be the last mistake I'd ever make. And I pressed on, sneaking, watching, until at last I reached the edge of the clearing. There I hunkered down behind a decaying pile of punga and took in the scene of serene subnatural horror before me. Fuck. Maggie Matthews had the complexion of Stilton cheese, chalked white and pale. Exaggerated blue. Rigor mortis had petrified the scream upon her face, and her eyes were boiled eggs, left to grow cold and forgotten in their cups. Yet she moved. A slow methodical jerk as the color mandibles chewed through her corpse. Suddenly and surely, I drew a bead on one of the color's glistering compound eyes. A .45 caliber slug of pure gold shot through the eye and into the brain. A one-shot kill. At least that's how I played it out in my imagination just before I pulled the trigger. But the color had other intentions. Whether it heard the outtake of my breath or the slightest creak from the trigger mechanisms, the thing somehow knew my bullet was coming for it. It thrashed its head downward, meeting the slug with a heavy chitin that adorned its monstrous skull. The exoskeleton and pitch-black blood showered the forest beyond. But the injury did nothing to slow the color down. Both guns blazing, I dove clear as the color cruelly serrated arm plunged into the punja and tore it apart. I rolled to my feet as it came about and barely managed to pull some remove between myself and the color. Is that supposed to be room? Or is remove something I just don't know about, word-wise? Before those chitinous sighs came lashing out once more. Oh god. In this case, barely turned out to be not quite enough. One of the brute's arms found nothing but air. The tip of the other racked my coat, shirt, and flesh of my right side before burying itself in the tree trunk. While the color thrashed and hissed, trying to wrench its arm free, it chittered my teeth against the searing pain in my side, raising my Colts, and put the two remaining slugs through the monster's eyes. Like the lovers of Giggling Glade, those bullets kissed in the seclusion, and then went their separate ways. The color's skull, already weakened by my made shot, disintegrated. Its massive body thrashed for a few moments in decapitated confusion, and then slumped limply to the sonder earth. My moment of victory was a short one, as my bleeding flesh reminded me of the cost. There's no shame in crying. I did just that, as I took the bottle of Farland's remedy from my coat pocket. unstoppered it with trembling hand and downed its contents. Like most of Falconer's alchemist brew, it simmered with welcome warmth on the way down and burned like a bitch as it got to work. I eased myself to the ground, put my back against the tree, and tried not to scream at the agony of Farland's remedy, knitting my inside back together. Oh god, that would be incredibly painful. After what seemed like an hour, but was probably only a few minutes, the pain subsided to the point where I could once again think and see with some clarity. As the remedy finished its work, I took in the clearing and its Cambrai inventory. It looked like most of Moonlight's disappearances would end up being explained by this one blood-soaked dell of shattered bones, tattered cloth, and shredded flesh. It was impossible to tell exactly how many people had shared Maggie's fate, but a quick skull count told me at least a dozen at least. Just when I finished counting, that's when I saw the eggs. I struggled to my feet, crossed the clearing, stepped as best as I could around the remains of the tragically departed. The first egg looked like it belonged to the color I'd just slain. A long, waxy cocoon, some 10 feet in length, ruptured from the inside out. Its twin laid nearby, same length, same burst-open appearance. I'd brought one of the monsters down, but there was another one out there, equally big, equally ferocious, and now wise to the fact that there was a falconer on its trail. Then I saw the third cocoon, obscured by the ferns on the edge of the clearing. Despite the cold, clammy air, the sweat beaded on my skin as I limped over to the thing and took in its grotesque beauty. It was smoother, more delicate than its cousins, like a baby's cot made of pure silk. The top had been neatly slit open, and its contents disgorged without the slightest disturbance to its smooth lines. And what of contents? Centipedes, 1,000 of them or more? Curling, wriggling mass of legs, mandibles, and glistening, supple chitin? A 1,000 near mindless creatures that, when joined, forged a single and fiendishly clever intelligence. A cedar. Looked from one cocoon to the next. There wasn't a color problem. There was a bloody infestation. I felt the tears stinging my eyes once more. That they weren't tears of pain this time. Farland's concoction had seen to that. No, they were tears of frustration and something else. Fear. Oh man, it worked out perfectly. I was planning on having like half-an-hour episodes, and it was just like, okay, I had to be approaching the end. This was just a demo. Now, I will say, it's an amazing demo. I actually want there to be more, and I know there's more because it was greenlit on Steam. So I cannot wait for this game to actually come out. I'm planning on picking it up. This is really cool. She's a crack shot, cook under pressure. A Scottish gentleman of noble bearing. Woman who didn't get to Because a good-looking ladies' man, of course. This is a really cool game. I really enjoyed it. It kind of terrified me a little bit as well. But I'm not that good with horror anyways, but you know. So this will be a two-parter just because I would put it as one, but I need content, sadly. But this is a really, really cool game. Oh man. I love that she wields Colts, I'm not gonna lie. Colts that shoot out gold bullets, that is awesome. And there's the Falconers crest, I'm guessing. Oh. The Falconers Moonlight. I can't wait. Will be available in the second quarter of 2017. That's actually kind of funny. I'm actually at this. We're actually coming to the start of the second quarter of 2017. Oh man, I can't wait. This was such a cool game. I loved it. Let's go back out to the main menu to listen to that music more. Because that's just really good somber tone for how this game actually is. But yeah, I'm hugely looking forward to this now. I cannot wait. Okay. I can't like speak highly enough of how much I really like the story. I mean, I wish I could do more voices, but I only did this one for the one guy. Just because it isn't voice I can do. I mean, I don't know why it was that voice, but I felt like the slick kind of guy just looks like he could talk his way, basically a ladies' man as they put him. But yeah, this was really fun. I might do a full playthrough of this game. I mean, it is a visual novel, so it's in a way slightly less of a game and more of like a book with moving pictures and such. But I mean, honestly, I still enjoy those from time to time too. I played some of those. Okay, I'm just rambling at this point, and I can't wait to play this again. Well, to finish playing through it. When it actually comes out, I'll probably just skip ahead. If it does continue the same storyline, I'll probably just skip ahead to the point to where I was at. So it'll just be like a continuation from where the demo left off. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all have an amazing day.